5 years ago, if you told me I'd wake to the soft trill of birds over a glassy lake instead of blaring horns and leaf blowers, I'd have laughed in your face. But here I am, Nathan Carter, a former construction worker with creaky knees and sun-scorched skin, levying a dream I never dared voice. My grandfather left me a 7-acre slice of paradise by the water, not some glossy estate with marble statues, but a raw, quiet haven. Towering pines shield it from the road, a weathered dock juts crooked but strong into the lake, and a fire pit sits where grass won't grow, where Grandpa and I once roasted marshmallows and dodged talk of feelings. It's peace in its purest form, no meetings, no noise, just a creaky porch chair and the water's stillness at dawn. My name is Nathan, and this land is my legacy, earned not by luck but by blood. The property backs up to a tidy HOA community called Willow Creek, all matching mailboxes and manicured lawns. I've got no beef with them theory, just not my people. My land sits outside their domain, a fact I triple-checked before moving in. A lawyer confirmed it, and a notarized zoning map hangs on my fridge, showing my lot carved out by the county in the 50s, free from HOA rule. Legally, they can't touch me. Or so I thought. That belief held for a week. I spent those first days fixing the dock's warped boards, oiling shed hinges, and hauling branches, work that tired my body but fed my soul. Nights were for grilled steaks, cold beers, and silence so deep it felt holy. Then the stares began. Dog walkers lingered by my tree line. Kids on bikes whispered at my driveway's edge. And then there was Paul Grayson, HOA board president, with his salt and pepper hair, stiff posture, and golf polos that screamed, "I'd like to speak to your manager." The first time our eyes met, he didn't smile, just studied me like I was a weed in his lawn. My gut churned. Paul wasn't curious. He was scheming. Days later, I drove back from town with paint for the boathouse and slammed on the brakes. Where my shoreline and half my dock once stood, a gleaming 8-foot steel fence now loomed, its locked gate bearing a sign. Private HOA property. Access restricted. My boat bobbed behind it like a prisoner. Confusion hit before anger. Was I at the wrong lake? My GPS said no. Hands shaking, I rattled the industrial padlock and called Paul. Voicemail. Twice. Then a golf cart zipped up, carrying 2 men in. Willow Creek Security. Jackets, looking like retirees playing cop. "Sir, you're trespassing," the driver barked. "This is HOA-managed land. Step back." I blinked. "This is Saw land. Parcel 52C. I've got the deed, county maps, everything." They shrugged, sunglasses glinting. "It's a disputed boundary. File with the board." Disputed? They'd built the fortress overnight without a word. "This is theft," I snapped, but they just parroted. "Take it up with the committee." I called the sheriff. 2 deputies arrived fast, and I laid out my case, deed, maps, photos of my clear shoreline from 3 days ago. Then Paul appeared, slick as oil, clutching a manila folder like a prophet. "Officers," he purred, handing over papers and signed diagrams and a claim that the shoreline was communal, due to survey errors. His jargon was thick, and the deputies' faces showed it was working. "There's no dispute," I cut in. "They built this fence this week. My documents are county stamped, 2024. His aren't even notarized." The deputy sighed, eyeing both stacks of papers like they were ticking bombs. "This is a civil matter. Take it to court." Paul smirked like he'd won poker with a pair of 2s. Fury burned in my chest. That night, I barely slept, the image of Paul's grin and my locked-up dock searing my brain. I knew court was INEVY table, but first, I'd try talking naive, maybe, but I wanted to give peace a shot before war. The next morning, I grabbed my documents and walked to Paul's house, past Willow Creek's uniform flower beds to his backyard, where he sipped whiskey like a man in a cologne ad. "Morning," I said, voice steady. "Got a minute?" He raised his glass, sipped, and squinted like I was a nuisance. "I don't want this to escalate, Paul. That fence is on my land. Take it down, and we're done. He set his drink down with a clink. You're offering saw terms, saw? No, I said. I'm offering you a chance to avoid court. His jaw twitched. Son, you don't get how things work here. I get property law, I shot back. Locking me out of my dock isn't a dispute, it's theft. He chuckled, a VY Lane's laugh, and spat. You think this is about land? You posted that garbage online. HOA tries to steal my trees. Cute. My firm dropped me because of your little Reddit stunt. There it was. So this is about a meme? I said, slipping my phone's recorder into my pocket, sensing trouble. If you spent less time policing lawns and more on law, maybe your firm wouldn't have ditched you. His face went crimson. You little. His glass shattered on the concrete, and he lunged. I'm no boxer, but 20 years on construction sites taught me to handle drunk foremen and bar fights. Paul swung wildly, grazing my shoulder, roaring nonsense. I dodged, planted my feet, and landed a right hook square on his jaw. He crumpled into his lawn chair, groaning like Gravy Ty had betrayed him. Heart pounding, I stopped the recording and walked away, Leah VYing him sprawled. I dropped the HOA king in his own yard and kept my dignity. But men like Paul don't retreat, they reload. That evening, headlights lit my driveway. 2 deputies, different from before, stepped out. Mr. Carter, we got a report of assault. You're named. I laughed dryly. Let me guess, Paul Grayson. They nodded. Says you attacked him unprovoked. Bruises to prove it. He's not wrong about the bruises, I muttered. But unprovoked? Hardly. I played the recording, Paul's rant, his confession about the meme, the glass breaking, his charge. The deputies' faces shifted. Got VY Deo? One asked. Just audio. It's enough. Press charges? I shook my head. Not yet. Let court handle him. One smirked. Self-defense, then. Can we keep the audio? I handed it over, and Paul's VY Tim act collapsed. By the court date, my EVY Denke was ironclad, surveys, photos, zoning docs, and the recording of Paul's meltdown. My lawyer, Emily Stone, strode in like she owned the room, her blazer sharp enough to slice steel. I was a nervous wreck. Paul arrived in a gray suit, flanked by 2 HOA lackeys, looking like bake sale volunteers. His lawyer spun a tale of Paul as a noble leader protecting, communal, land, tossing out terms like easement ambiguity. Emily obliterated it. She proved my ownership with a 1950s deed and 2024 county maps, showing the HOA had no claim. Then she played the recording. Paul's voice filled the room, his vendetta, the glass, the charge. The courtroom froze. Paul paled, whispering frantically to his lawyer. Too late. Emily faced the judge. This isn't a dispute, Your Honor. It's encroachment, obstruction, and revenge. My client was locked out, assaulted, and defamed. We seek full damages. The judge, a grizzled man who looked born for a fishing boat, spoke. Mr. Carter's ownership is clear. The HOA acted beyond its authority. Mr. Grayson's conduct was egregious. This isn't how neighbors settle disputes. The verdict hit like thunder. The fence must be removed at HOA expense. Paul was personally liable for obstruction and defamation. I was awarded due law $350,000, due law $100,000 for property interference, due law $150,000 for emotional and reputational harm, due law $100,000 punitive. A permanent injunction barred the HOA from touching my land again. Paul deflated. His lackeys looked gutted. Emily snapped her binder shut. I'll send the bill. Outside, a reporter shouted, Mr. Carter, how's VY Tory feel? I grinned. Like justice found its dock. The fallout was swift. Within 48 hours, a crew tore down the fence under county watch. I sipped coffee from a lawn chair, GIVYing a mock golf clap as the gate fell. The local paper screamed. HOA overreach crushed, resident wins due law $350K. Willow Creek turned on Paul. Residents dug into his past abuses, finding colorful flower beds, banning garden gnomes. An emergency HOA meeting ousted him. His press conference drew 3 people, one a dog walker who laughed. A for sale sign sprouted on his lawn weeks later. His firm, spooked by the scandal, cut him loose. I didn't glow, not much. Karma did the work. My dock was mine again. I added solar lights, a bench, and fished with extra beers. Neighbors who'd snubbed me now waved, one even brought pie. I'd become the guy who slayed the HOA dragon. Emily joked I should run for office. I'd rather grill, I said. The real win was peace, knowing I'd held my ground against a bully in a polo. I kept the recording, not for spite, but as a reminder, one clear voice, one solid punch, can keep the wolves at bay. Weeks later, I hired a woodworker, Gus, to craft a sign. We planted it where the fence once stood, facing Willow Creek. Private property. Trespassers will be humiliated, sued, and possibly recorded. Below, in smaller script. Approved by the Court of Common Sense and the people of Punching Paul, 2025. Petty? Sure. Perfect? Absolutely. I threw a lakeside cookout, no HOA in VY Ted. Neighbors poured in, even a deputy Mike for burgers. Fireworks sputtered, and a grandma named Ellen sang, "Sweet Caroline," dubbing me Doc Defender. A note appeared on my mailbox days later, and signed, "You didn't just save your land. You gave us our spines back. Thank you." I tucked it in my toolbox, a keepsake. Now I live as I always meant, coffee on the porch, fishing at dusk, grilling by the water. No fences, no bullies, just the lake, the wind, and a neighborhood that knows where the line is. That old fence spot? It's not where my freedom ended. It's where it began.